Thank you. Oh,
3,
yes, Logan.
2, 1. Crouch. Touch. Set. And right.
Hey everybody, welcome to the first ever Rugby Magazine, This Week in Rugby. I'm Alex Goff, editor of RugbyMag.com and Rugby Magazine, and we're going to be talking a little bit about some of the action in the previous weekend and look ahead to the next weekend. So we're talking about April 13th was our last weekend and what's going to be up ahead for us on April 20th. And right in the middle of April, we're talking playoffs. Everyone's thinking about playoffs, qualifying for playoffs, and the first actual national playoffs that we had were this past weekend. We're in the Women's College, Division 1 and Division 2. So let's have a look at those scores first of all. In the one major surprise, I think in the first round, was Navy upending Brown 27-12, and we also had a wild one between Texas A&M and California, with the lead changing 5 times. Lauren Butler was the big scorer for Cal, with Bonnie Richardson scoring 6 tries for the Aggies, and they came through 39-37. In the quarterfinals, we once again saw Penn State battle with Women's Cougar Rugby, and to you and me that's BYU, but they call them Women's Cougar Rugby, and Penn State came out on top, and it was a close one with Norwich and Army. Norwich has won 2 National Sevens titles, and they're building on that in 15s. Joya Clark was the big star again, scoring 2 tries. So the Final Four looks like this. May 3rd and 4th, Stanford University. Norwich will play the host Stanford, and Penn State will take on Navy, their local rivals. And this trophy, this championship, has kind of taken up residence in Happy Valley for the most good part of the last 10 years. It's a good chance it's going to go back there again this time. We also had the Division 2 round of 16 and quarterfinals this weekend. Yes, we're not a fan of the 2-game weekends, but we have to play them. Here are the scores from there. You see newly minted varsity program Quinnipiac is starting to show some results, and they will play Winona. Washington State plays University of Buffalo in the Final Four, also May 3rd and 4th at Stanford University. In men's college rugby, playoffs are on everyone's mind as well, but what's weird about this is that 2 of the 3 most compelling games from the last weekend were friendlies. They weren't even league games. Now, the one league game that did capture everyone's imagination was Arkansas State at Life. This was a game where the winner was probably going to win the Mid-South title, but there was a whole bunch of ramifications with bonus points, things like that. Well, let's go to the highlights. Arkansas State led late, and check out this try. Good defense from Arkansas State, and they turned the ball over, and they quickly worked the ball out wide on the left. Very nice ball handling, and you see some good speed. Life didn't quit though. They put pressure on, and trust us, camera doesn't follow it quite the way we want it to, but they spin it wide and they take it into the corner. That closes the gap. And then with time just about up, there's a scrum for Life, a quick recycle, and they're stopped, but there's a penalty. A quick tap, and there's Calvin Nell. He goes in under the post, and that's going to win it. It's a great game, and Life University wins the game, but Arkansas State takes the Mid-South because they got the bonus points for the close loss and for scoring 4 tries. So they win the Mid-South, Life comes second. The other 2 big games produced plenty of drama. Now, number 1 Cal took on number 5 St. Mary's, and St. Mary's was up actually 21-6 at halftime. Doesn't really happen too often to Cal, especially this year. They've been beating everybody by a huge margin, and Cal came back and won 41-31. Watch out for Jake Anderson. He is a terrific player, terrific fullback for them, and a great goal kicker. Very cool under pressure. We also had Army take on Navy. This is an all-time great rivalry, of course. Have a look at the highlights from there. We'll go to the tape. This is always a physical battle, but also one featuring two of the best young fly halves in the college game, Will Holder of Army and Jack McAuliffe for Navy. And there's McAuliffe setting up the first try for Navy. Nice try on the outside. Good view of the Hudson River too. Army replies and tries to bull their way over. They're just short of the line, but the ball is recycled nicely. And a show and go from Holder, and that puts him in under the posts. We're in the second half now, and more of the same from the Army forwards. This time, they get it over. Navy comes right back. Superb short ball from McAuliffe and a great line right through the Army defense. And this game was back and forth as you'd expect. Army ends up winning 28-26, and of course it had to come down to one of those fly halves. Will Holder kicks a last-minute penalty goal to win the game. Now don't forget, you're going to see Life, Cal, Army, Navy, all of those guys along with 16 other teams at the USA Sevens Collegiate Rugby Championships June 1st and 2nd at PPL Park in Philadelphia. You're also going to see Dartmouth, who are the two-time defending champions, and they won the Ivy League this past weekend, beating Brown in the final. It's going to be a great tournament. Check it out, and if you want to get tickets, go to USA7scrc.com or check out rugbymag.com. Club rugby now, and we're into the Elite Cup right at the end of it, and the Western Conference was finishing up their pool play with San Francisco Golden Gate taking on Glendale and Old Puget Sound hosting Denver Barbarians. All four teams were in with a shot at the playoffs. Golden Gate ended up beating Glendale 43-10, and that opened the door just a little bit for Old Puget Sound and Denver, who played in Seattle in the rain. Denver wearing green and white in this game, and they get the lead early on with a penalty. And then check out this drop goal from Max Deacheval. Wow, this is not an easy thing to do, and the kick goes out into the woods. It goes so far. Puget Sound comes back though. They get some good ball movement, and there's Pate Tuilavuka, straightens it up. He's an experienced player and sends a long pass out to Miles Craigwell, and he does the rest. Tuilavuka tries to set another one up. He grubbers a kick ahead for Craigwell, but this ball is a funny shape and it bounces away from just about everybody, and Nick Hawkins is there to grab it, and another try for Puget Sound. Denver gets a try back, and they're pressuring, and it's a penalty. Captain Logan Collins says, you know what? Let's just tap it and run. We'll just gather everybody together, tap it a little bit, and that works. They get a try in the corner. One more from OPSB. Line out. Beautiful work with the ball. Mike Palafau makes the break. And then out to Philly Botitu, and he wriggles out of a tackle. I don't know how he did that. And he goes in for the try. Puget Sound wins 39-14 and qualifies for the semifinals against Golden Gate. The major action in Division I was probably going to be in the Northeast, where the two top teams from New England played the two top teams from the Empire, and it was sort of New England's weekend as Boston beat Old Blue 23-20 in the semifinals and then really took it to Middlesex in the final to finish first, Middlesex second. Old Blue beat Buffalo to finish third. So what's going on this coming weekend? Well, we've got the Elite Cup again. This time we're going to the East Coast, and the Eastern Conference has New York Athletic Club taking on Life University and Boston playing Old Blue. Now, Boston and Old Blue have already played each other. They played each other this past weekend, 23-20 to Boston. They're both 0-2 in the Elite Cup, but it just seems a little galling for them that they have to play each other 2 weekends in a row. Playing for pride a little bit. On the other side, New York Athletic Club and Life University are both 2-0. This will be a great game, but really the result is moot because the two of them will be playing each other in the semifinals regardless. Still, this should be a good game. It'll probably be between the two best clubs in the country, San Francisco Golden Gate might have something to say about that, but it's probably these two, and it should be a matchup between some players who are vying to get on the national team, and it'll be a great game. On the college side, new competition starting up this weekend. The Varsity Cup. It's separate from USA Rugby in that it's not really a USA Rugby championship. It's been formed by a bunch of colleges that want to play tough games. And we've got two super regionals. One at Naval Academy where Navy plays Dartmouth and Cal plays Notre Dame. Great to see Cal go all the way across the country to play a game like this. And then at UCLA will be taking on BYU, and then Central Washington will take on Air Force. That's a kind of a pick'em game. BYU has got to be favored, so does Cal. Now, what's weird about this entire thing is that what we're seeing is a splintering of competitions, right? We've seen the Elite Cup separate out, and not only are we seeing the Elite Cup separate out from Division I, we're also seeing that teams are getting frustrated with the Division I competition on the club side. San Francisco Golden Gate announced this week they're not going to be playing in the Division I playoffs. Why? Because they like the Elite Cup and what they're doing, and they've also got another game to play. They're going to be playing the Tongan national team, so kind of hard to argue that that's not tough enough competition. But what we have still in the men's club competition is about 65 teams, half of which get into the playoffs. We know we don't have enough good teams that half of them should get into the playoffs. It's a structure that doesn't really promote good competition, and that's why you're going to see a trend among some of the top clubs. Golden Gate, New York Athletic Club's already done it. Life University probably going to be thinking about it, and I'm sure we're going to see a couple of other clubs look at the Division I competition and think, I don't want to be party to a blowout every single week. I want to play tough games that help our players get to the national team. On the college side, it's all kind of splintered out, isn't it? And the Division I AA and the Division IA is separated by quality, but not completely. There's still some things working out. That entire system is really only 3 years old. So expect to see the college conference system change. I don't know if we're going to be seeing them all come back to Division I or if they'll stay D1A and D1AA. I certainly think we're going to see the Varsity Cup come back, and that's going to expand. Texas is going to be joining, and you're going to be seeing more in the Varsity Cup coming up. So college is still a big question. But on the men's club side, you're going to be seeing something like the Super League, something like the Elite Cup happen again. We're not going to be seeing top elite teams playing in Division I. So that's it for this week. We want to thank the Bud Bay Rugby Club for hosting us here at their practice fields, and want to remind you to go to rugbymag.com for all the rugby news. I'm Alex Goff with Zachary Halpern behind the camera, thanking you for watching, and this is This Week in Rugby.